Now we will slowly start with Vedantic meditation. So I hope you guys have all done your homework for the last week. If not, the homework was just sit in a normal position, whatever position that you feel like. Just observe your mind for 5 minutes. That was your homework. If somebody could not do the homework, then at least do it this week, because this is not, it is going to take some time to get into the real Vedantic meditation. So we are going to do a lot of exercises in order to help us achieve that goal. So if you haven't done already, try to spend 5 minutes or 2 minutes. It should be consistent. It should be ideally the same time every day. Pick any day that you want, any time that you want, but ideally follow the same time, either early morning or just before going to sleep. Just sit in meditation. Any position is good. And then try to observe your mind. So that was the homework. Please do that this week as well. Now we will try to do Vedantic. We will try to slowly get into Vedantic meditation. So Krishna in Gita, the whole chapter of 6th chapter in Bhagavad Gita is dedicated for Dhyana Yoga. Even the chapter itself is called as Dhyana Yoga. He actually tells a lot of things, how to meditate, how should you sit, what is the seat that you have to sit on. He'll say, okay, you have to put darbai grass, darba down, and then you have to put some, mantul, deer skin. On top of it, you have to put some cloth. All those things Krishna says in Gita. All those things are there, but once you go deep, all those things will come into play. We are just trying to get into the group, right? So we don't have to do anything. Even whatever seat that you are sitting is fine. If you are sitting, on a chair, that is okay. If you are sitting on a sofa, that is okay. No need to do any Padmasanam. Just close your eyes. Try to free yourself. Try to free up your mind. Just observe your mind. So we will start doing some of that exercises from this class onwards. Try to sit erect, if you can, and then just close your eyes. You don't have to see anything. Just listen to what I say. For those who have already done that exercise, you can follow what I am telling now. You can do for this 1 week. So we will take week by week. So we will start this meditation process. Slowly close your eyes. Don't try to look for any new experiences. As I said in the last class, don't try to look for any new experiences. Don't try to look for any new knowledge. Vedantic meditation does not work that way. Just close your eyes, calm your mind, observe your mind, and whatever I say, just try to follow that. That's all is needed for this class. We all first should pray to Bhagavan for giving us this good life. We all have done some kind of Purva Janma Punyam in order to get this Manushya Janma. So let us all thank Bhagavan for giving us this Manushya Janma. We all are comfortably living as well. There are several people in this world who cannot afford what we currently have. So let us all thank Bhagavan for giving us the comfort that we currently have. Bhagavan has blessed us with a nice house. If it is rented, that is fine. There are many people who cannot even afford this rented house. So Bhagavan has given a nice rented house or a own house. Bhagavan has also given us means for transport. We can go from one place to another without any problem. And in order to transport, we use something called as car or bus. That is fine. I use a bus or I use a car to go from one place to another. Car is an instrument which helps me to move from one place to another. Bhagavan has also blessed us with modern gadgets like cell phone or computer. Cell phone helps us to communicate with others. Cell phone helps us to communicate with others. Just like how my car helps me to go from one place to another place. We have to keep in mind that both the cell phone and the car, they are instruments for comfortable living. And naturally, my cell phone either currently has some problems or in future it is going to give me some problems. My car currently might have some problems, but or my car in future is going to give me some problems. But what we have to keep in our mind is neither the problems are of my cell phone nor the problems with my car is going to affect me. I am something which is very, very different than my cell phone and my car. My cell phone, my car, I thank Bhagavan for blessing me with that. However, they are just some kind of instrument to achieve another means. The problems with my cell phone is not my problems. The cell phone screen might have cracked. The cell phone touch screen might have some problems. But just because my cell phone screen is cracked, it does not mean my skin is cracked. Just because my cell phone touch screen has got a problem does not mean my skin has got a problem. No, they all are the problems of cell phone. And we all know that if there is a cell phone, it will work for certain number of years. And after that certain number of years, it is going to go bad. If we have a car, it is going to work for certain number of years. And after certain number of years, the car will go back. We all know that. That is why we have no problem in accepting when the cell phone dies or when the car breaks down. In the same way, Bhagavan has blessed us with this body. The condition of my body depends upon the Purva Janma Punya. Whatever the problem this body has, it is not my problem. I am something completely different from my body. My body can be taller. My body can be shorter. My skin can be fairer. My skin can be darker. My hair, I might have a straight hair. I might have a curly hair. Whatever the problems the body has, let us not worry about the glories of the body right now. Let us worry about the problems of the body. That the knee pain I have, the blood glucose level I have, the pressure problem I have, the heart problem I have, whatever the problem I am currently having, or whatever the problem the doctor says you are going to have, they all belong to my body, and only to my body. None of the problem belongs to my real self. Just like how I use my cell phone to communicate with others. Just like how I use a car, I use a medium of transport to go from one place to another place. In the same way, I use my body to interact with this physical world. The role of the body is just to interact with my physical world. Even if my cell phone dies, Even if my car is completely totaled, just like how that does not affect me, in the same way, even if this body is going to go away, just like how cell phone and a car, they all have a limited period of working. In the same way, this body also has a limited time frame. We all have to accept that. And just like how I won't bother for loss of a cell phone, just like how I won't bother for loss of a car, in the same way, I don't bother for the loss of my body as well, because I am something much more greater than the body. Just like how if my cell phone dies today, I can get another cell phone the next day, or I can get another cell phone immediately. In the same way, even if my body goes right now, Bhagavan is going to bless me with another body. I don't have to worry about being bodiless at all, because I am much more greater than the body. Just like how I am much more greater than my cell phone, just like how I am much more greater than my car. In the same way, I am much more greater than my body. So whatever the problem my body has, they are not my problem. And even eventually, if the body is going to go away, I, as the witness consciousness, always exist. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this is how the meditation, the Vedantic meditation should go. You have to have just like Taila Dharavat, அப்படின்னு சாஸ்திரத்தில் சொல்லியிருக்கா. எப்படி நம்ம வசோர்தாரா பண்றச்சே நெய் வந்து அப்படியே உருகுமோ. When we are doing vasordhara in homa, we will see how they pour the ghee, melted ghee. The melted ghee will fall off without any disturbance. So our thoughts, we should try to regulate our thoughts, just like how that ghee falls onto the fire. That is called as nididhyasanam. And what thought should I have? The thought should not be what I'm going to cook for tomorrow. That thought is not going to be worrying about all the problems, but the thought stream, just like how we have a ghee stream, our thought stream should be about what we have learned in the Vedanta class. So with this, the meditation class is over. Now we will enter into the Viveka Chudamani class proper. Here, Acharya has started giving an example. Ghatodake pratibhimbam pratibimbita markabimbam alokya mudho ravim eva manyate tada chidabhasa upati samstam bhrantyahamityeva jatobhimanyate jataha abhimanyate. Only fools will think like that. Like what? Ghatodake pratibimbita markabimbam alokya mudaha ravim eva manyate. Just like how if you put a pot of water in front of bright sun, the sun will get reflected onto the pot of water. Only a stupid person will think the sun is actually inside the pot. Sun gets reflected in that pot water, but sun is not inside that pot or water. Sun is somewhere existing. It only gets reflected onto the water. In the same way, Jadaha Abhimanyate, only a person who has not have got enough jnanam, he thinks Tada Chidabhasam Upati Samstam Bhrantya Aham Yityeva Jadaha Abhimanyate. In the same way, only an ignorant person will think that the Chidabhasam, the Chit Abhasam. Abhasa means reflection. Chit Abhasa, the reflection of the consciousness, in our Vijnanamaya Kosha. Technically, it happens in the Vijnanamaya Kosha, but we can correctly say that it happens in the Sukshma Sharira or in the mind. So, just like how an ignorant person will think that the sun that is reflected on the pot water to be the real sun, in the same way, only an ignorant person will think the consciousness that is reflected on our Vijnanamaya Kosha, or the consciousness that gets reflected on the Sukshma Sharira, only an ignorant person will take that reflected consciousness to be the real self. Bhrantya, Bhranti, abdina, Manobhranti, abdina solron liya, Manabhranti, abdin solron. Manabhrantina enna illada oru vishayatha irukkarada nenichukkiradha Manabhranti, abdingiradhu delusion. Only a person, only an ignorant person, because of delusion, will think that consciousness which is reflected onto his Sukshma Sharira or Vijnanamaya Kosha to be his own self. And now in the next shloka, Acharya gives out the real solution. What is the solution? Ghatam, Jalam, Tat, Tadgatam, Tadgatam, Arka Bimbam, Vihaya Sarvam, Vinirikshate Arkaha, Tathastha, Eka Tritayava Bhasakaha, Swayam Prakashaha, Vidusha Yada Tada. Yatha, just like how we remove, we understand that Ghatam. Ghatam means the pot. Jalam, Jalam is the water that is filled onto the pot. Tadgatam Arka Bimbam. And the Arka Bimbam. Arka means sun. Bimbam means reflection. Ghatam, the pot. Jalam, the water. And the reflection of the sun in the water. Just like how a wise person will remove Ghatam, Jalam, and the reflection of sun in the water. The pot, the water, and the reflection as something impermanent. And just like how the wise person sees the real sun as the real sun, in the same way, the wise person should remove three things, he says. Tatastaha, etat, Tritaya avabhasakaha. The wise person should remove these things, these three things, and Swayam Prakashaha Vidusha. He has to understand the Atma Chaitanyam, which is the original consciousness, Swayam Prakashaha, that which does not need anyone's help to know itself. That which does not, because we have seen the meaning of the word Swayam Prakashaha in detail in one of the previous classes, that which does not need anybody's help to perceive. We need light's help to perceive a book. So book is not Swayam Prakashaha. Even to perceive light, we need our eyes. So even the light is not Swayam Prakashaha. Even to perceive our eyes, we need our mind. So even our eyes are not Swayam Prakashaha. If we go all the way through, our Atma Chaitanyaha is the Swayam Prakashaha. It illumines everything. It by itself can never be illuminated. So Swayam Prakashaha, the wise person should remove these three things, and he has to understand his own self, his own nature as the Swayam Prakashaha. What are these three things? Acharya is going to say. We have sun. So now we have to come back to the example. We have sun, we have a pot, and inside we have water, and we have a reflection. In the same way, our body is like that pot. Our body is the pot. The water is our mind. Here mind is a general term, not the technical Manomaya Kosha. Here mind refers to the Sukshma Sharira. The water refers to the Sukshma Sharira. and the reflection of the sun that we see is the Chidabhasa or Pratibimba Chaitanya. Here we have Chaitanya, the real consciousness, the original consciousness. We have a part which gets reflected in the pot. The pot is analogous to our body. The pot is filled with water, which is analogous to our mind. And in that water, we see the reflection of the sun, which is the ahankara, which is the I-ness that is obtained within this body, which is the ahankara or I-ness obtained within the body, that is called as Chid Abhasaha. So there are three things. There is a pot, there is a water, there is also the reflected sun. There is body, there is mind, there is also the Chit Abhasaha. These are the three things that Acharya says we have to remove. And just like how the wise person will know only the sun as the original sun, in the same way, the Jnani should know the original consciousness, that Chit Vastu as the real Atma. He's going to say here, Deham Dhyam Chit Pratibimbam Evam. Deham, the body. Deha means body. Dhyaha. Dhyaha refers to here the Sukshma Sharira. Deham Dhyam Chit Pratibimbam Evam. The Pratibimba means reflected consciousness. Pratibimba means reflection. Chit Pratibimba means reflected consciousness. Buddhau, the Buddhiman, that intellect person will visrujya, will remove his deham, that is body, dhyam, that is his sukshma sharira, and chit pratibimbam, that is this reflected consciousness. That buddhiman, that intellect person will remove deham, the body, mind, that is the sukshma sharira, and the reflected consciousness, that Buddhiman will understand as non-self. The Buddhiman will understand all these things not to be his own self. Then what is his own self? Visrujya buddhau nihitam guhayam drashtaram atmanam akhanda bodham sarva prakasham sad asad vilakshanam. Drashtaram, he will understand. Drashtara means literally the seer, the person who sees these three things. What are the three things? Deha, body, Dhiyaha, my intellect, and Chit Pratibimbam, that is reflected consciousness. That wise person will remove all these three things intellectually, and he will understand his own self as Drashtaram, Atmanam. Atmanam means his own self. Atmanam as Drashtaram. Drashtaram, that witness who witnesses his body, who witnesses his mind, who also witnesses his ahankara, who also witnesses the consciousness that is obtained in the body. Drashtaram Atmanam Akhanda Bodham. And how is this Atma? This Atma is not only present when we are waking up. Khanda means parts. Akhanda means without any interruption. Nama Akhanda Parayanam or Akhanda Deepam abdinla solluva. What is Akhanda Parayanam or Akhanda Deepam? Khanda Deepam nama kartala valaketharom. 2 hours the lamp will glow, and then after that the lamp will go off, and then sayangalam thiruppi evening we will light the lamp. 2 hours the lamp will glow, and then it will go off. That is Khanda Deepam. Akhanda Deepam na enna? Nariya nei potu nariya thiri vechu ஒரு நாள் ஃபுல்லா கேப்பே இல்லாம அந்த விளக்கு எரிஞ்சதுன்னா அதுக்கு பேரு தான் அகண்ட தீபம்னு பேரு. அகண்ட பாராயணம்னா என்ன? We all do Lalita Sahasranama Parayanam for 30 minutes in a day. What is Akhanda Lalita Sahasranama Parayanam? It means the Parayanam that is happening without any interruptions. So Akhanda means without any interruptions. Akhanda Bodha means We all have our own, that I-ness, always, without any gap. Without any gap, we all have I exist. I exist. I am. I am. I am. I am. அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு எண்ணம் நம்மள்ட்ட இருந்துட்டே இருக்கும் பார்த்தீங்களா, அதுக்கு பேர் தான் அகண்ட போதம். அகண்ட போதம், சர்வ பிரகாசம், that which illumines everything. Here this word sarva prakasham is very, very important word. In Vedanta, we will have another word called as tamasaf parastat. What is meant by tamasaf parastat? What is meant by sarva prakasham? Prakasham means light. A light can illumine everything except one thing. Can you guys guess? If I turn on the light, that light can illumine everything in this room. But even light cannot illumine one thing in this room. What is that? That is the darkness. The chair is in the room. Once I turn on my light, I can see the chair. But before turning on the light, the room was dark. The moment I turn on the light will illumine everything that was there inside before my turning on the light, except for the darkness. Because the moment I turn on the light, the darkness will automatically go away. So light cannot be called as sarva prakasham, because light cannot illumine absence of its own self. But Atma Vastu, even the light is not there, we understand that there is a darkness. So Atma can illumine everything, including absence of something, including darkness. That is why Atma is called as tamasaf parastat. Tamaha, tamo means literally darkness. That which can illumine even darkness can be called as sarva prakasham, because light can illumine everything except for darkness. So the word sarva prakasham cannot be used for the ordinary light, but it can only be used for the Atma Jyotihi sarva prakasham sat asat vilakshanam. Sat means manifestation. So here sat means gross. Sat means gross, asat means subtle. What is meant by gross and subtle? I see this computer right in front of me. I can interact with this computer. I can touch my laptop. I can see my laptop. I don't want to do, but if I want, I can even taste my laptop. So this laptop is gross. But what about the electricity that runs this laptop? I cannot see the electricity. I cannot touch the electricity. I cannot taste the electricity. Even if I put my tongue on the live wire, I can only taste the metal, not the electricity. So that electricity with which we cannot interact, but we know electricity exists, with which we cannot interact directly, but we can infer. We can only infer electricity through my laptop working, or we can only infer the electricity with an voltmeter. We cannot see, we cannot interact with electricity directly. So electricity is called as a subtle vastu. It is called as a sukshma vastu. In the same way, my sukshma shariram is there, my mind is there, my intellect is there. I cannot see my mind. I cannot see my intellect. I cannot feel, I cannot touch my mind. I cannot touch my intellect. But we all know that we have a mind. We all know that we have an intellect. So we can only infer the mind and intellect, but we cannot directly play. We cannot directly interact with the mind and intellect as we normally interact with our body. So this Atma Vastu, this Drashtaram Atmanam, the seer, it is Sadasad Vilakshanam. Sat means Stula Sharira. Asat here means Sukshma Sharira. It is devoid. It is free from the Stula and the Sukshma Sharira. the gross and the subtle, and Nityam, Vibhum, Sarvagatam, Susukshmam, Antarbahishshunyam, Ananyam Atmanaha. Nityam, this Atma eternally exists. There is no end for our Atma. Only the body can die. Atma can never die. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Nasato vidyate bhavaha, nabhavo vidyate sataha. That which has got sat only can exist. That which does not have sat, that which is asat, can never exist, says Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. That is why all of our body, even the whole universe, they only have a transient existence. We all know the whole universe has got a transient existence. Why? This universe has got a date of birth. Big Bang அப்படிங்கிறாங்க. இத்தனை கோடி வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி, some billion years ago or trillion or billion years ago, because of Big Bang, everything came. And the same scientists are saying there is going to be a big crunch after some billion years ago, where this whole universe is going to collapse. How do we know if something is born, if something is collapsing, when we are not witnessing all those things? If we are present in a room, only when we are present in a room, we can say this person came into this room at this time and this person has gone out of room at this time. So we have to witness the coming of the person, the arrival of that person. We also have to witness the departure of that person to say that person does not stay in this room permanently. In the same way, if we have to say that nothing is permanent, then we have to be that permanent thing. We have to be that witness consciousness which witnesses the birth of the universe, which also witnesses the departure of the many universes. Nityam. Nityam means what? Eternally present, ever existing. Vibhum. Sarvagatam. Sarvagatam means all pervading. Vibhu means omnipresent. Sarvagatam is all pervading. They have slightly, the same meaning. Where does our consciousness exist? We will say our consciousness exists within our body. That is what is our normal answer. Where is the consciousness? We will say the consciousness exists within the body. But the problem with that statement is only the reflected consciousness exists within the body, not the original consciousness. If we go back to this example, as I said in the last class, all these examples will have one limitation. We cannot take this example to other levels, right? So now we will study this example carefully. So where does the sun exist? The sun is existing in the sky, but only the reflection of the sun is confined within the pot. The sun is big. The sun is located. The sun is spatially different. The sun is at a different place than the pot. But only the reflection of the sun appears to exist within the pot. Now we have to ask the question, where is the sun? Can any wise person say the sun exists within the pot? Wise person will never say that. Wise person will say, even though the reflection of the sun seems to exist within the pot, but sunlight is present everywhere. Sun is present everywhere. Sun is located, but its light is present everywhere. That is what we say, right? In the same way, when we say, I am the body, and I have my consciousness, that is a problem, because then my consciousness will only exist within my body. And we already know what type of consciousness that is. The consciousness that exists only within the body is not the original consciousness, but it is the reflected consciousness. But rather, what should we say? Instead of saying, I am the body, and I have a consciousness, we have to invert the logic. We have to say, I am the consciousness and I have a body. We have to invert the logic. Instead of saying, I am the body and I have a consciousness, this part will say, I am the body and inside me, sunlight is there. But the wise person will know that the sun is present everywhere. It is also present inside the body as well. In the same way, Vibhum Sarvagatam. When we say I am the body and I have a consciousness, then the consciousness cannot be Sarvagata. Sarvagata means all pervading. Vibhu means omnipresent. Then we are not omnipresent. But if we change the logic, but if we understand the logic properly, which is I am the consciousness and I have a body, then we can understand that the nature of Atman is Vibhu. The nature of Atman is Sarvagatam. Susukshmam. Consciousness can never be interacted with properly. Because what is the Lakshanam? What is the definition of Sukshma? I said, Sukshmam is something which we can never interact with, but we can only infer. Electricity is a Sukshma Vastu. We cannot see electricity. We cannot hear electricity. We cannot taste electricity. But we infer the presence of electricity because my computer works. Because when I switch on my fan works. Because when I switch on my AC works. In the same way, we cannot see our Atma, but we can infer that Atma is present because we can see each and everything that is surrounding us. That is why Atma is called as Susukshmam. And Antar Pahihi Shunyam Ananyam Atmanaha. Atmanaha is Antar Bahishunyam, which does not have interior, which does not have exterior. Meaning what? Only a pot can have an interior space and exterior space. Only if you have an object, only that object can have inside and outside space. But the space itself exists within the Atma. That is why Atma is Antar Bahishunyam Ananyam Atmanaha. If some person know that, that person who knows, Vijnaya. Vijnaya means that person who knows this, that person who realizes this as to be his own self. Samyak Nijarupa Metat. That person which understands this completely, and also that person which owns up this concept, Puman, that person, Vipapma, Virajaha, Vimrutyuhu Bhavati. This is the phalam of that jnanam. Vipapma, Papma means he becomes free of all the sins, because all the sins are there because of our association with our body or mind. We do papam, we do punyam. Eppadi punyam pandrom, eppadi papam pandrom? Mano, vak, kayam. We can do papam or punyam only with these three things. Manaha, mind; vak, speech; kayam, the body. But if we understand that none of these are my own self, and I am something which is superior than my mind, my body, and my speech, then whatever the papam we do, meaning what? Whatever the papam or punyam that is associated with manovakayam, they will affect only the body, but not my own self. Just like how that shattered screen in my cell phone affects only the cell phone, not me. In the same way, papam and punyam, they are like shattered screen in our physical body, sthula sharira, or our sukshma sharira, the subtle body. But none of that shattered screen is not going to affect me. Puman vipapma. Vipapma means without any sin. Sin means what? Papam, punyam, both have to be taken here. Rajaha. Rajaha means blemishes. We don't have any blemishes because all the blemishes, they all occur only for the body, but not for me. So that person who realizes his own self as this will be vipapma bhavati. He will not have any papam punyam. He will not have any blemishes. And more importantly, the mrityuhu, he will not die. The body will die. Please don't mistake me. Please don't mistake the Shastra. The body will have birth. The body will have death. But as the original consciousness, I have neither birth nor death. Virajaha, vimrityuhu bhavati. That is my real nature. And here, again, many phalams in next two shlokas, Acharya is going to say the phalam of getting this jnana, because we haven't finished it yet. Normally, Palashruti only will comes at the end of anything. கோவிலுக்கே போறோம், பிரசாதத்தை முன்னாடியே கொடுத்தானா கோவிலுக்கே போகாம சாப்பிட்டுட்டு வீட்டுக்கு வந்துடுற கேஸ் நம்மெல்லாம். அதனால பலஸ்ருதியை முன்னாடியே எந்த ஸ்லோகத்தையும் சொல்ல மாட்டான். விஷ்ணு சஹஸ்ரநாமத்திலேயே சஹஸ்ரநாமம் எல்லாம் சொன்னதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் இந்த சஹஸ்ரநாமம் சொன்னா இது பலன். If you chant these things, this is the palan. That is what normally people will say. சினிமால கிளைமேக்ஸ மொதல் சீனே வச்சுட்டா சினிமா யாரா பாப்பாளோ பார்க்க மாட்டான். ஆனா வேதாந்த சாஸ்திரத்துல தான் அப்பக்கப்ப ஆதிசங்கராச்சாரியார் கிளைமேக்ஸை ஞாபகப்படுத்திட்டே இருப்பார். ஏன்னா போர் அடிச்சிடாம இருக்கணுங்கிறதுக்காக. வாட் இஸ் தி பலன்? வை ஷுட் ஐ ஸ்பெண்ட் மை டைம்? My time is very, very precious. You know, I could have watched Money Heist on Netflix. I could have watched some TV show on Netflix. Instead of doing all those things, why should I sit and why should I listen to this Vedanta class? So Adi Shankaracharya repeatedly will tell the climax of the story. He has already told the climax of the story in the last shloka. Vipapmaha, Virajaha, Vimrityuhu. That person who has got this knowledge, he will be devoid of all the papas. He will be devoid of all the blemishes. He will be devoid of maranam and janmam and jananam and maranam. So he is going to tell even more. He is even going to tell other phalams for getting this jnanam, which we will see in the next class. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. I know I have to upload last two classes. I will upload this